I drove 3 hours through winding mountain roads to finally claim the quiet lakeside cabin my late Uncle Cornelius had left me in his will. After a brutal divorce back in Denver that left me emotionally and financially drained, this 1970s A-frame nestled among towering pines on 100 feet of prime lakefront felt like the fresh start I desperately needed. The will was straightforward. No strings, no complications. Just Uncle Cornelius's final gift to help me rebuild. Lake Serenity was a small community of about 200 homes, a mix of year-round residents and weekenders, where the original 1980s HOA rules were once simple and low-key. Dues were only $50 a year, and the biggest debates were over whether fishing was allowed from the community dock. That piece had changed about 8 years earlier when Delilah Hutchkins muscled her way into the vice presidency. She drove around in her massive RV like it was a mobile headquarters for petty enforcement, rewriting rules to target anyone who didn't match her narrow idea of community standards, anyone over 70, under 40, or without the right suburban polish. Uncle Cornelius had always ignored her nonsense. He paid his minimal dues, kept helping neighbors with wiring, plumbing, and fixes at fair prices, or sometimes for free, and ran his little workshop with its comforting smell of sawdust and WD-40. His hand-carved sign out front read, Cornelius Blackwood. Fair prices, good work, better coffee. What his heart gave out last spring. Half the lake showed up for his memorial. But when I pulled up that Friday evening, exhausted from packing up my old life, there was Delilah's 40-foot diesel beast parked squarely in the middle of my driveway, blocking all access. The generator growled like a freight train with asthma, drowning out the gentle lake waves and loons calling at sunset. She stepped out in flashy pink velour tracksuit and giant sunglasses, fake nails clicking against a laminated rule sheet. Overflow parking, honey. Your uncle knew the rules. Time you learned them too. I explained calmly that I owned the property now. She laughed. Sweetie, he knew his place. Then she planted a tacky pink flamingo right in the middle of Uncle's memorial rose garden. The whole setup reeked of vanilla air freshener mixed with cigarette smoke, and extension cords snaked everywhere like vines claiming territory. I'm staying indefinitely, she purred. Check the motel card on your door. Little did she know, Uncle Cornelius had left me more than the cabin. He'd left detailed files, recordings, legal prep, and connections that turned her emergency into her undoing. I retreated that first night to Sal's Diner down the road, where the coffee could strip paint and local gossip flowed freely. Sal slid me Uncle's spare workshop key and whispered that Cornelius had been building a case on Delilah for years. Photos, notes, financial trails showing she'd run similar scams in Nevada before moving here, targeting properties during ownership changes with manufacturer violations, inflated contractor kickbacks, and pressure to sell cheap to her network. Saturday morning, I returned with coffee and pastries, hoping honey might work better than vinegar. No chance. She'd added a cheap plastic fence with yellow caution tape around her section of my land. 72-hour mutual aid camping provision, she declared, waving yet another freshly laminated sheet with suspiciously new highlights. That's when Beatrice Caldwell, the 78-year-old retired teacher next door, stepped in. With the stride of someone who'd handled classroom bullies for decades, she led me to a hidden surveyor's stake behind Uncle's huckleberry bushes. Uncle had resurveyed 2 years earlier when Delilah started her games. The markers proved my lot extended 10 feet farther toward the lake than she'd claimed. Her entire RV was parked illegally on my private property. No easement, no right-of-way. Armed with that, I visited the courthouse. Property records confirmed everything, and in Uncle's safety deposit box, hidden behind a breaker labeled emergency only, his little joke about Delilah's favorite excuse, I found the original HOA charter limiting enforcement powers, plus a thick folder labeled DH. 3 years of photos showing her RV illegally in fire lanes, handicap spots, private driveways. Notes traced kickbacks to recommended contractors who always got the HOA work. Delilah escalated while I gathered evidence. A violation notice appeared duct taped to my door. Fake electrical hazards requiring immediate inspection by her approved and kickback-connected contractors. $500 daily fine starting Monday. Her setup grew. Satellite dish bolted to Uncle's oak, permanent-looking outdoor lights, concrete footings poured for a deck extension. The generator ran non-stop, turning peaceful mornings into industrial noise. I met with Uncle's retained lawyer, Janet Morrison, who'd been paid in advance exactly for this scenario. She explained Colorado law. Property owners have absolute authority to remove vehicles blocking primary access. No warning needed once documented. Adverse possession threats she floated were nonsense. It takes years in Colorado, not days. Every laminated threat she issued was more evidence of harassment and fraud. By Monday, a county electrical inspector arrived, prompted by Delilah's complaint, but found Uncle's work not just code-compliant, but exemplary. Delilah tried, claiming expired permits required updates under revised standards, pushing more fees to her cronies. The inspector noticed the temporary setup had become permanent construction, no permits. She pivoted to tears and fake medical notes, claiming mobility issues and ADA needs. Janet outlined the plan. Municipal complaints for every violation. Noise over limits, setbacks breached by 17 feet, illegal septic discharge, unpermitted structures, formal trespass notice, then towing. Fines would stack daily. Noise $500, environmental $2,000 plus, compounding fast. Uncle's hidden recordings captured her coordinating with accomplices about targeting transitions and accelerated removals. The HOA meeting she called featured her brother-in-law, fire marshal with his own no-bid contracts, pushing emergency acquisition powers for threat properties, conveniently below market to shell buyers. Playing naive, I asked detailed questions on camera. Every word became recorded confession. Sabotage followed. Mysterious power outages, just my cabin. Herbicide on Uncle's memorial oak, fake noise complaints. Trail cams caught her midnight spraying. Then came fake tax delinquency notices threatening liens. Demolished in minutes. Taxes were current. Uncle's masterpiece was a hidden workshop box. Towing contracts, including Big Mountain's RV specialist. Violation lists with fine schedules. Financial evidence of $400,000 plus fraud across properties. Strategy memo from Janet. File complaints Monday. Serve notice Tuesday. Tow Wednesday. Fines could hit $50,000 plus in a month. Undischargeable in bankruptcy. Monday, complaints filed. Tuesday, Rita Sanchez from Code Enforcement inspected. 14 violations documented. $8,750 immediate fines doubling weekly. Janet served papers. Delilah cycled through rage, tears, discrimination claims. Wednesday, Big Mountain positioned their rig. Delilah chained herself to the hitch with fake handcuffs, claiming medical protection. Rita added obstruction fines. Bolt cutters freed the chain. The RV lifted away as fines kept climbing. $13,750 municipal plus towing/storage. Silence returned. Waves lapped. Loons called clearly. Neighbors gathered for Beatrice's beautification day. Really, a celebration. Potluck stories poured out. Bird feeders removed, gardens fined, flags sighted. Delilah's harassment had touched nearly everyone. Friday's emergency meeting packed the community center. Rita presented $15,750 fines, $3,200 environmental cleanup, storage/towing costs. Janet revealed the full fraud. Mail theft, identity fraud, kickbacks. Federal referrals followed. Postal inspection, EPA, state AG. Delilah's lawyer fled. Applause erupted. Months later, she got 18 months federal time, $25,000 plus surviving fines, RV auctioned. Assets returned $180,000 to victims. HOA reformed with transparency and limits. I stayed, turning Uncle's workshop into a community tool library. His business continued fairly. The lake rebounded, clearer water, more fish, louder loons. We now celebrate Property Rights Restoration Day, annually with tool workshops and shared meals. Uncle's legacy of helping neighbors alive and well. Standing on his dock at sunset, watching mist dance off the water like silk scarves, I finally got his lesson. Bullies thrive when good people stay silent. Communities heal when consequences catch up. No more diesel rumble, just peace, waves, and the sound of justice finally settling in.